Welcome to the Painter Files, episode 15. It is me, as always, Shuar Blake. Today was a very, very interesting day. I didn't expect to be as busy as I was. I had all these concepts and ideas of stuff I wanted to paint, and in the back of my mind, I kind of was thinking about this patch that my friend gave me, Hannah Cherry. Very cool piercer, I know. And it's basically the King of Swords, I guess. Kind of a theme I've been on a lot recently. And it's basically this man who's in a loincloth and he has all these knives and arrows and swords sticking into him. It's kind of like the painting I did earlier with the young man and the swords in him. But it's her logo, and I've been thinking about it for a while because I'm working on this new piece. I've been posting little bits and pictures of it, so I hope you've been following. Um, and I wanted a really cool kind of shirt logo for the woman in the painting that I'm working on right now. I still love painting nudes, but I'm not sure I want to do any big nudes because I'm not sure where I can display them publicly. I love being able to do this stuff. I love being able to make stuff. And at some point in time, I'm just going to start making them. Whether or not they can go up anywhere in a location I already know of or not. But for now, I just don't. I don't know. I'm not going to run out of paper. I've got so much right now. But I don't know. I just don't know. In other news, I ran into my friend Jane Milosh. Jane is a art director for the Smithsonian. She's a very cool lady. It's so interesting to kind of run into people like her because she's literally seen so many works of art from countless artists who are infamous. And she saw my work once and she told me it was really good and that I should keep up the good work. And I said, "Wow, that's pretty high praise." So that was nice. I told her about the grant. She thought that was really cool. Um, I don't know. It's funny to run across people who you don't expect to necessarily run into you and say nice things about your work that you make. I've been a painter for a long time, and I don't paint like anybody else, really. I don't paint like Picasso. I don't paint like Da Vinci. And I love how I paint. And I imagine via your comments that you also love how I paint. So it's a little crazy to I don't know, to see anyone who agrees with us. It still feels surreal throughout all these years. I don't know why. I know I'm talented. I know I'm a good painter. The awards and the accolades are nice, but the comments and the smiles and some of the stories you guys have shared with me throughout the years have really, I don't know, they really made my day. So thank you. I I remember like growing up in art school and just running across these people who were they weren't painters, but they went to the art school. There were people who were trying to get like I guess production credits, production degrees, and they were really judgmental about us painters. Like they had these really strange, unexpected judgments about us. And for a lot of us, it was really shocking because we weren't prepared for that. We were expecting to, we were expecting to see kind of more like a camaraderie about what we did, and instead we were kind of hit with this. Well, you guys are probably all junkies, and you're all like sex addicts, and you're probably gonna spend more time being selfish and thinking about yourself and what it means to be yourself than it is to actually like be a part of being around other people. And I remember some of us got really mad, but I think for me it hurt my feelings more than it did anything else. And I guess I've kind of always been a sensitive artist. Like, my general response when people say something just about me is I get offended, you know? It's hard to, even with critiques, I mean, it's hard to take a critique sometimes. You're very proud of what you do and you feel really strong and happy about it. It's not like you're in an art school setting where you're sitting in a classroom and everyone's sitting around in a circle and you all take turns saying something negative, something positive, and then something constructive. It's not even negative, something constructive. And those weren't comments that were constructive. Like, what do you do with that? Other than be offended, what do you do with that type of situation? How do you make any type of sense out of any of it? It was just crazy. And to some extent, they were probably right on some of those things. Like, some of us were kind of crazy, and some of us were very promiscuous and all those things. But I mean, that's kind of just college. Like, that's not really anything to do. That's honestly, some people are young and they're crazy, and some people go to school and they never really have any real personable experiences while they're there. You don't have to have wild and crazy things that happen to you in life to necessarily have fun, but there is something to be said about people who judge other people for doing it. Like, where do you draw the line at attempting to enjoy yourself? I don't know. If you're let me see. If your favorite game is to tear down other people, like, are you ever really having fun? I don't know. So, to describe the painting that I'm working on right now, for those who don't have eyes at this moment to see what I've been talking about. So there's a giant crow. He's all in black. He has one of my long crowns growing from his face. He has probably about 30 eyes. He has his real eyes, and he has 30 little eyes outstretching from his bill, from the edge of his bill, before it goes on to to the ends of his face, all the way around his eye, and flowing back across his neck, all the way to the edge of his tail feathers. And then the rest of it is mostly kind of light and mid brush strokes. Naturally doing my spin brush that I like to do. I found these really great brushes actually recently. They're the funny thing about them is they're synthetic. They're synthetic brushes, so they're not hard brushes, but they absorb ink really well and they don't fall apart after a while. And they have like these faux wood handles. They're probably wood, but they're not the wood that they look like they're wood. And they're beautiful, and they're big. I kind of like the big brush. It's fun. It's silly, but it's fun. Feels good in your hand. And then the yellow from the crown that is touching him on his nose or his beak, all the way to the back of his neck. The yellow streams all the way back, kind of like a jet, leaves like clouds behind it. And then there's the woman. The woman is sitting behind the bird, as big as he is, and he takes up the majority of the page, of the canvas, of the paper. And she's kind of twirling her hair in her finger, and she has these shoes. She's tattooed. She has on a long shirt. And she's got her legs in front of her. Her feet are almost touching the end of the crow's wing. And she has these shoes on. And I painted them red. And the red drips from the shoes and then streams all the way past the bird's face at the bottom of the canvas. There's little drips, some parts where the yellow, the red, and the black all go. And I purposely did them in different time periods because I wanted them to look I wanted them to dry and pool where they pooled without mixing with the other pieces. There's still so much that has to go into it. Their eyes, chain linked, coming out of the back of the tail feather, and some are under transparently the woman's face and her shoulder and her legs. It feels like a truth that there are moments in your life where you will sit and you see yourself as this bird in the sky, flying and going and doing, and in that moment you're there but you're not there. You see like the sky from the sky's perspective. It's interesting. For all the things I think I've done in my life, I have never enjoyed flying. And I love birds. I like crows particularly, as you probably can figure out by now with my many crow paintings. I've never enjoyed flying. It's always kind of made me nervous and a little scared, which is hard for me to admit. And there's something really amazing about a bird, a crow. These huge wings, and they fly and they soar, and they yell and they act all crazy, and I don't know, there's something kind of fun about them. They make me smile. I don't know what my fear is about flying. There's something about it that's just uncomfortable. Maybe it's because I'm always squished in between people. But, I don't know. I'm not really even great about driving fast. Like, I get nervous. It's weird. I like my feet. I like my bare feet to touch things. On the ground, preferably. It's interesting. It's a beautiful painting, I have to say. And it's not near done. But I thought I'd give you kind of a heads up. Now, I'm going to do something new that I haven't really done for a long time. But I've never done on the podcast. I want to describe to you one of my favorite paintings of all time. So hold your horses. Here we go. So this painting is called Charles I. It's by Jean-Michel Basquiat. It has a blue panel in the middle on top of three yellow panels. And then it has two black little panels on the third one. And inside them there are all these words and these images and his Samo, which was his graffiti name, logo, in them in little spots. And in them it says Halos, 59 cent. And it says Thor. And it says most young kings get their heads cut off. In young, it has the word slashed out, but you can still see it. It looks like lockers. It reminds me of like high school lockers, but it's in yellow, and red, and blue, and white, and black. And there's crowns and fingers and just everything. It has the word opera in it. In 1953, the word copyright crossed out. There's just something so beautiful and kind of awesome about what he does, or what he did. He passed a long time ago. I want to say around late 80s. I don't want to say the exact date because I'd be wrong, probably, if I guessed. Maybe 89. But it was, I don't know. He had this very good freedom about him. He wasn't afraid to just make and put his words on things and put his images on things. And I want to get to that. I don't know how, but I'll figure it out. I feel like the Painter Files is like this really kind of funny thing I tried to do once upon a time with making fun of kind of the Rockport Files in the name only. And it's really turned into this kind of brand, which is weird because I didn't think I'd ever be a brand. I always thought when people said, "Oh, what's your brand? You got to find your brand," and I was like, I don't know what that means. Like, do I need to make like baseball caps? What does that mean? A lettering on some glass wall, on a glass door, and ultimately it's just the things you say and you do and the things you hold yourself to. I like that. I think this is actually the longest Painter Files, guys, we've ever had. I'm glad you're still here. Thank you. I hope it's not too painful for you. I hope everybody's doing well. I feel like we all need a win. Our government here is a little fucking crazy right now, so we all need a win. I hope this feels like a win sometimes. There are these podcasts I follow. I love to listen to them while I paint. And I hope this is something you can listen to when you wake up in the morning, or you have breakfast or lunch or dinner, or sit out on your porch and drink something cold or warm, depending on what you prefer. Something you tell other people about if you can, and they can say it's their it's their podcast too. And if they say it's their favorite, that's cool too. But they can say it's it's yours and it's theirs and it's mine. It's the Painter Files. All right, that was corny, so I'm gonna go. Hope you all have a great day. Love you guys. Painter out. Ciao.